All right, everybody, thanks for waiting. The attendance and the gate this year we beat last year was 12,423 and a $3.286 million gate. The fight of the night is no secret, Miller versus Lozon. Submission of the night, John Moraga, and knockout of the night is Duffy. All those guys won $65,000. Yep, the gate was $3.286 million. Thank you. Who has the first question? Junior Dos Santos was transported directly to the hospital, and Cain Velasquez will be here in minutes. My man, right here with his hand up. Who's got the mic? Oh, you go. Oh, pardon me. I didn't know you were already. It was already set up. Go ahead. You go first, and then we'll get you, John.
Okay. Rodrigo del Campo, La Ciudad Deportiva. Is this the show that UFC has been waiting to go into Mexico with Cain and Eric doing this well?
I think we're getting there, you know what I mean? I think we're getting there. We've been ready to go into Mexico for a long time. Obviously, it doesn't hurt with the two guys that won tonight and how they looked. So.
Y para Eric, ¿cómo te sientes? How do you feel after this fight? Are you ready to take on higher competition in the bantamweight division?
I feel very good. I feel awesome, and I'm ready to go and rest 1 week and come back to training again for another fight.
And do you have an opponent in mind, or what you will?
Wherever UFC say, I'm fighting.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
For Dana, please. Obviously, the main event, pretty one-sided score, but still a pretty epic fight. Can you talk about, kind of your impressions of that fight and where you think this stands all time in the heavyweight division?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to bet, I would have bet everything that I have that fight wouldn't go 5 rounds, and I'd be broke right now. I'd never expected that to happen. Cain Velasquez looked awesome. He came out in the beginning and was trading with Junior Dos Santos, hurt him, and then pretty much dominated the fight. We saw what a tough, well-rounded fighter that Cain is, and I honestly think from the second round on he could have stopped that fight whenever he wanted to. He was fighting and playing it safe, but still doing a ton of damage. And I can't confirm this, maybe one of my people can, but I heard that Junior broke his jaw in the second round. And what we learned tonight is Junior Dos Santos is one of the toughest dudes I've ever seen. I mean, he took big shots tonight. He stayed in the fight, and wow.
And I know obviously you never like to matchmake after a fight, but you've said that Alistair Overeem, should he win, is probably next in line. I heard you told the Brazilian media this week that Verdum, if he wins, could be after that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a while. I think Junior Dos Santos is going to have to take some time now and relax and heal up. And Cain will probably fight again before he sees Junior if we do that rematch.
I was going to say, is there a temptation to do the rubber match now? I mean, obviously you've got the history. This was
I also think as tough as Junior Dos Santos is and was and in this fight, it was a very one-sided fight. So maybe Junior fights, another fight, and I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Okay. If I could go to Jim, please. Jim, obviously coming into this fight, you said that you haven't been satisfied with your performances. You wanted to dominate. Incredible fight between the two of you, of course. But, are you satisfied with the way things turned out tonight?
Not as much as I would be if I was able to finish this tough guy. I knew that I was going to have to throw everything I had at him. And that's what I pretty much did. But, yeah, I couldn't put him away. And I don't get super excited about winning decisions. I want to sub guys out, knock them out. But yeah, it was a fun fight to be in. I've never had a conversation with somebody in the middle of a fight. When they had that weird little break because of the gauze in his glove. I have the utmost respect for this kid. He's really an awesome guy. What was the chat there then? Is that when you guys had a little conversation right there? Yeah, I was like, great fight, buddy. And I was like, we're both like, oh, this is kind of weird. What's going on here? And
So was I.
Yeah, I was like, I think it might be because of the gauze, And yeah, it was just a very simple conversation, but doesn't happen often.
And last question for you, Jim, as well. You said you wanted to stay busy in 2013 and really get back, but after a fight like this, I'd imagine you need some time off. Does that change, or you want to still get back there right away?
Yeah, I want to get right back into it. I'm a little lumped up. It was a physically tough fight, but I had 8 months off between this fight and my last fight, and I don't like waiting that long. I fight because I like to fight, and I really like to go in there and do the things that I train to do. So if I could fight every 3-4 months, that'd be wonderful.
Dana, just to ask you about the heavyweight division, Kane, we talked before and you were talking about how dominant he has been and how well-rounded he is. When you look at your division, do you see anybody out there that you would say, hey, could, give him a run for the money at this point? I mean, it seems like he's kind of lapping the field almost like Anderson has in a way.
Yeah, you never know in the heavyweight division. Junior was before that, you know what I mean? And tonight Kane came in and put on an incredible performance. I think that it's an interesting matchup with him and Dos Santos. Overeem. Overeem's a big, strong guy. He kicks hard. He punches hard. I don't know. I think if he gets by Overeem, the biggest fight out there again for him is the rematch with Dos Santos.
Right. If Junior did not have the broken jaw, would that be a consideration given it's 1-1? I know you said he had the broken jaw, so you're going to look at a different direction. If he didn't, can you think about going in May and saying, potentially doing that at that time frame?
I don't know. You can't even think about that stuff right now. It depends on how, I don't know who here really saw Junior Dos Santos after that fight. He looked terrible. He looked terrible. And then give it 2 hours, you start to look worse, and I'm sure he's going to be very sore for a while, and especially if he has a broken jaw, you know how that goes. They're going to have to wire his jaw shut, and it's going to be a while before he starts training again and stuff.
And when you compare Kane's performance tonight to what he did against Brock, obviously he fought a better fighter tonight, I think, than he did against Brock. But, did you see a similarity there? Did you see any growth from that fight to this fight?
No doubt about it. And again, leading up to this fight, I kept saying, and I said it with Rogan when we opened the show, everybody was questioning his chin. I think Cain Velasquez has a great chin, and he proved that in the Czech-Congo fight. He took some big shots from Czech, and that was back when Czech was hurting people. Somebody had asked him in the press conference before what his favorite fight was. That was my favorite Cain Velasquez fight until tonight. It was the first time he was ever taken into deep water and had gotten rocked or anything, and he fought like a pro that night. And again, same thing for Junior Dos Santos tonight. Junior Dos Santos, in his UFC career, had spent 13 seconds on the ground. That was it. And then tonight, he had a broken jaw, he got beat up. Things happened to him that have never happened to him before, and the guy's just an absolute warrior and a stud.
Question for Jim, please. Jim, I think you talked about this a little bit in the octagon, but just right in front of you, sorry. How close were those submission attempts, especially the one at the very end?
The heel hook was pretty close. I was able to control his wrist and really push my heel down to try to take that away from him, take that lever away. I knew he was setting it up. He started to set it up on the opposite side of the cage. I was so exhausted, and it was a beautiful setup, and it was a beautiful move. I admired it while it was happening. But he was gonna have to break it. I knew there was under a minute left, and I was not gonna give in to that.
And then for both of you guys, I think you kind of addressed...
Wait, he didn't answer the choke. I want to know the choke. Did he have that choke?
Yeah, the choke wasn't that close.
No?
No, I was taking a break.
Sorry, I had to know that.
And then I just wanted to ask both of these guys, you kind of addressed it when you said you had the conversation, but you guys got some pretty unbelievable ovations there, especially going into the second round. And I know as fighters, you try to have laser-like focus and not really pay attention to what's going on, but did you notice that? And what are you thinking when you hear the roar like that?
I noticed it. I try to feed off the energy. It gets me excited, and I was exhausted after that round, so I was trying to use some of that energy to, bring me back.
I had quite a bit of blood in my eye, so I was kind of focusing on that. So I did notice it, but I'm glad to hear that everyone was enjoying the fight.
Dana, MiddleEasy.com right here. there was some controversy surrounding the Leonard Garcia fight. I was just curious as to what you scored the fight.
When I was in my back room, we were watching the fight, and I was just one of those fights where I said I wouldn't want to be a judge during this fight. You know, I don't know how controversial it was. It was a war. It was a close fight. You know. Yeah, I could have had it going either. You know me. If I thought it was like, this is ridiculous, I'd say it. It was a damn close fight. Tough fight to score.
Question for Joe here on your left, Joe. Can you describe the fight and you know, how do you feel in your loss? Obviously, with Fighter of the Night bonus takes a sting out of it, but you had a great fight, and you probably earned more fans in this loss than perhaps with a win.
You know, I really don't care about how the fight goes so much, as long as, you know, I gave it my all. You know, I go out there and I do the best I can in training, you know, and if I did a great job in training, then I really don't care about how the fight ends. You know, if I go out and I win, that's great. If I go out and lose, you know, that sucks, but at the same time, you know, if I did everything I can to prepare, then I'm not too worried. You know, I really like Jim. You know, before the fight, after the fight, during the fight, you know, so if I get to lose to someone, you know, I'm glad it's a good guy like Jim.
How important was your cut man tonight?
You know, it was a big deal. You know, so it was the first time I'd actually been cut and had it draining in my eyes so bad. You know, like I could just feel like warmness just spewing all over my face. So it really, it was a pretty big cut, and I could see, but it was definitely distracting. You know, the entire time I'm just thinking about it, and you know, and the elbows kept coming. So it wasn't the first cut. There was quite a few.
Yeah, and the media wasn't over on our side. At one point, he had like that arm choke on him, and it was literally squirting out of his head. Ari Emanuel, the agent, the real Ari from Entourage, you got him good.
Good.
You got him good.
Mission accomplished.
And one question for Jim. It looked like at the end you looked up and you took your mouthpiece out and you said, "Holy shit!"
I did.
What was going through your mind there?
Just that was a crazy fight. You know, I was exhausted, and you know, I try to leave it all inside the cage, you know, and just give forth that you know, complete effort. And I think I did that tonight. You know, I was pretty exhausted and banged up, and yeah, it was just. Even though I was in pain, I think he lifted me off my feet with that knee to the sternum in the third round. You know, that definitely hurt, but yeah, it was a fun fight. It was a fun fight to be in. Oh, it makes me a sicko.
And the question that you asked earlier, that you reminded me, Sean Shelby, one of our matchmakers, came to me, you know, during the fight sometime and said, I guess Leonard Garcia was in a situation to be cut if he had lost tonight. And he came to me and said, Dana, I don't want to cut this guy. And I said, there's no way in hell we're cutting Leonard Garcia. So.
Just a couple more here for Dana in the back to your left.
Yep, Ariel Helwani.
Yes, interesting night for the middleweight division because two top contenders, Belcher, Boach, lost. The next UFC event is the FX show in Brazil. Can you say now 100% that if Bisping wins that fight, he will finally get a title shot?
Yeah, it's funny too because yesterday at the weigh-ins, Belcher came up to me and said, I'm going to win this fight tomorrow night, and when Vitor Belfort gets hurt, because you know he will, I'm going to step in and I want that fight with Bisping. That's what he told me yesterday. So, yeah, if Bisping wins, he'll get the shot.
Okay, and obviously a big night for Cain, a big night for Eric Perez. You know, the Mexican storyline with Eric was pushed very much this week. With Cain, we know about it for a while. Is that enough to finally make your debut in that region, or do you still need a little more as far as TV is concerned?
Did you just get here? Because that question's already been asked.
I actually did. I apologize.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming. And the answer is yes. Yes, it's you know, we've always been ready to go into Mexico, but now it definitely doesn't hurt with Cain being the heavyweight champion and winning the way that he did. And this guy is actually from Mexico, has a great story, and is very good.
And just one more, hopefully it wasn't asked. Can you just talk quickly about Joe Lozon? Was this asked? About him getting another bonus. I believe now he passed Anderson, for the record, in UFC history. I believe it's 12, if I'm not mistaken, or it's 11.
No.
Nope.
You're wrong, Eric.
The countdown show said 11, and it said, all right, we'll talk about it. Anyways, he has a lot of them. Let's just put it at that. When you first saw him as a young kid who knocked out Jens Pulver, did you think that he would turn into the fighter that he is today?
You never know. I mean, he's always exciting. You know, whether he's fighting world-class talent or Nick the Tooth, he always looks good.
This question for Costa. Costa, you came in replacing your teammate, and you put on a phenomenal performance against somebody who's been really moving up in the rankings. Where do you feel right now that you place yourself?
I don't really know, but I should be a top 10 right now, at least.
Who would you like to fight here in the future?
Whoever they decide that I have to fight, I'm more than willing to fight.
All right, good answer.
Hey, Dana, right in front of you, towards the back in front of you.
Hey, there you are. What's up, buddy?
Just a real quick question about Chris Lieben. What did you think about his performance? In some of his post-fight statements, he said that it was kind of Brunson's style that led to a slower fight. Is that what you saw, or how did you assess what he did tonight?
I love Chris Lieben personally and professionally. You know, he's a great kid. You know, I think tonight for the pay-per-view, I think I made a mistake putting him on the pay-per-view. I should have had him on an undercard. He's been off with personal problems for a while, has had a lot of time off, you know, and he looked slow tonight. Yeah, I wasn't crazy about that fight. That wasn't my favorite fight of the night, that's for damn sure. You know, the other kid was looking at the clock like he was a 14-year-old waiting for school to get out the entire fight, looking at the clock. You know, you're in the UFC your first time, and you know, I wasn't very impressed.
Do you have a conversation with Chris and ask him if this is something that he really wants to do anymore, or do you kind of chalk it up as he had a lot of personal stuff going on, it could have been rust, things like that?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Chris Lieben loves to fight. There's no doubt about that. You know, the biggest challenge in Chris Lieben's life is battling his demons, you know? And, you know, we try to help him as much as we can. And, you know, like I said, I love the kid. What's up, champ? So, yeah, I'm sure he'll be back. And there's no doubt. How would the kid not be rusty? It's impossible. So, yeah, I kind of blew that. Believe me, Joe Silva will blame that one 100% on me. The champ is here.
Dana,
any questions?
Here your left, Dana.
Yep.
Where do you see Eddie Wineland after his performance tonight? The bantamweight title, 135. It's interim right now.
Yeah, you know, I always feel stupid saying stuff like this, you know, because I'm not supposed to say stuff like that, but I'm a huge Pickett fan, you know, so me and Eddie were talking. Eddie's like, I hope you're a fan of mine now. And he did. He looked good tonight. Pickett's a tough guy, man. He stays in the pocket. He keeps throwing. He keeps moving forward no matter what you hit that kid with, and Eddie fought a perfect fight tonight and beat him.
And for Wineland, where do you see yourself with the interim belt and in the position in the 135 division?
I see myself wherever they want to put me, you know. Yeah, I would like a shot at the interim belt or the belt, whatever they want to give me. But, you know, just keep me fighting. It will keep me happy. So wherever they decide to put me, that's where I'm deserved, I guess.
For Kane, please. Kane, obviously, congratulations on your win tonight. A lot of people saying, you know, best performance of your career. I know sometimes you're a man of few words, but, you know, tell us how you feel right now after turning in that type of win.
Well, great, you know. That was definitely a tough fight, you know. The pace that I try to put out there, the whole fight, I mean, it was tough, you know, and Junior stayed in the whole time. And, yeah, man, I just feel great, you know, that people out there, you know, were saying this and that, you know, for a whole year. And it's a thing of me just going out there and just having to prove it.
It looked like you might get the fight finished in the first round. Did you think that, you know, the fight was over? And, you know, what were you thinking at that time? Were you thinking, hey, there may be 20 more minutes, I got to scale back a little bit? Or, you know, what was going through your head?
Yeah, you know, I know I got him with a good shot. And when we were down there, he was just, you know, I just couldn't get enough power in that position to really get more damage. I could see that. So there was no point for me just keep, you know, throwing hundreds and hundreds of shots, you know, just kind of keeping a good pace, trying to stay on top of them heavy, and land more effective shots.
And in the first couple rounds especially, it looked like maybe there were some opportunities to take his back and maybe look for a choke. Did you see those, and did you pass on him on purpose? Were you trying to send a message? Did you want this thing to go long? Because it looked like maybe you could finish it with a choke.
You know, with me, my style of fighting, I mean, I love ending the fights and TKOs and everything else. And For us to do more of a wrestling style fight, to be heavy on him the whole time, to have it tired him out, that's what we wanted, and that's what we did.
And final question, if I could, have you had a conversation with your teammate Daniel Cormier and what this means for him? Does this mean we can expect to see him on a diet soon, going down to 205, or what do we think?
That's one thing we were talking about. He says that he thinks he might do that. But man, with him, Todd Duffy that we have in the gym now, those two guys made the camp so tough because it was a thing of they knew what I wanted to do the whole time we were sparring. Get a takedown, they would pop right back up because they knew what I wanted to do, and it just got me ready for this type of fight.
Question for Dana back here over there. Carlos Contreras from Mexico. I would like to ask you. I heard you were resilient with the whole Gojiro's mask thing. How do you think that turned out?
Turned out good. We had this on the scrum the other day. I said I don't like goofy walk-ins. I don't like guys that do goofy stuff. I like guys to be serious and come out. And I know the history of the mask and what it really means, and it's not goofy to me.
They were sold out.
What's that?
They were sold out.
What was sold out?
The mask.
Oh, they sold out?
I don't know.
I was going to say then I like them even better. I don't know. I don't worry about stuff like that, whether we sold out or if we did any of that. But I respect what the mask means and what it means to him as a fighter and as a Mexican. So I'm cool with it. Fanny packs and all this other goofy stuff, I could do without it.
Thank you.
Kane, congratulations to you. You said people were talking for the last year. I mean, I've only read people saying great things about you and what a great fighter you are. Were you referring to things Junior said or other fighters or what?
No, just, there's always, fans for both fighters, and it's good. But, it's a thing of me in the first fight not showing what I could really do, and it's always been in the back of my mind since the whole year, you know what I mean, knowing what I could do, and I just need to go out there and prove it, It's a thing of who shows up that night and, impose their will on, their opponent.
You didn't want to say it before the fight, but now that the fight is over, how badly were you hurt the first time, and did in fact that make a difference in the outcome of that fight?
It did, just mentally and physically going through a training camp and not being able to practice what you can do in a fight really takes its toll on you, if you can't do it in the fight, then it's going to translate to, if you can't do it in the gym, it's going to translate to the fight. So me being able to just kind of stuff I couldn't do in the gym, stuff that I wanted to do just because of the game plan, I couldn't do it, and it translated to the fight.
A lot of champions say, the tougher thing is to keep the belt after they first get it. Now you're in your second go-around. How do you think it'll be different now that you know what it's like as champion, you know what your obligations are, and you know what it takes, you know how hard the other guy's going to come at you now that he knows you're the champion?
Just the same thing, man. You got to keep improving, It's sport's always evolving so fast. We have to go back and always get better in everything, and then when it comes down to it in the fight, we need to show up that night and do what we've been trained to do.
This is for Eric Perez. Mr. Perez, how does it feel to be 3-0 and undefeated in the UFC with 3 stoppages? And did you have a hero or idol growing up that inspired you to wear the mask yourself, like a masked wrestler like Santos or Rey Mysterio?
Yeah, the means for me, the wear the mask. I'm super. My English is working out. It's like I feel like superhero when I have the mask on and 3-0 right now. I can't believe it. And I've been training real hard in the gym for making the 4-0, 4 stoppers. It's my next step.
Question is for Joe. Joe right here, MiddleEasy.com, right here. Obviously, you lost a lot of blood. I was curious how you were feeling at the end of the fight, and And how do you think that fight would have went if there was 2 more rounds to go?
I'm glad there wasn't 2 more rounds. I was losing a lot of blood. I felt okay. Honestly, the biggest thing is my legs are sore. When I was on my back in open guard, he was kicking in my legs. So, the blood definitely hindered me a little bit, but it was just Jim. He was on top of me the entire time. He kept good pressure. I'm glad there weren't 2 more rounds though.
This is for Kane. Were you obviously the game plan worked really well. How winded were you when it came to the 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds?
I was bad, man. But in training camp, I felt the same way just because it was that hard. We had a purpose in training camp to do that, and it translated into the fight. And in the fight, doing that high pace of fighting, especially for a big dude, that was tough. It was tough, But I just knew that if I put this kind of pace on him, I knew he would be just a little bit more worse than me, And it's a thing of just being mentally strong. So that's pretty much it.
You had that big right hand there in the first round. You had several more throughout the fight, a lot of combinations. Were you at one point just surprised you just couldn't knock him out?
No, he's a tough dude, man. He's really good. I was surprised that I was connecting so well, and his takedown defense was really good. It was tough, but I think it got a little easier as the fight went on, just a little bit, just because the pace of the fight kind of tired him out a little bit, but it was a tough fight.
Kane, do you think it was the pace that tired him out? It seemed like he was a little bit out of sorts after getting knocked down. Did you feel like he was never the same fighter after you did that to him?
No, I think it's the pace. That wrestling pace of carrying somebody else's body around for that long, it's tough, man. I've been doing it my whole life, and it's a thing that you really have to be doing it. You have to do it a lot, and mentally, it just gets you so strong, and that's what we've done in wrestling, and that's what we're doing now here in the UFC.
Early on in the first, it seemed like you were trying to do the wrestling moves that you had talked about. It wasn't going perfectly well, and then you got the shot. How did that? Talk us through that. How did that go down? Where you said, I'm just going to stand with this guy and throw for a while.
Well, it's a thing of not just shooting. You can't just go in there and just expect to shoot and get a takedown. The guys are so good now that it's a thing of setting up your shots with punches and kicks. You need to set them up. Once your opponent starts worrying about the stuff upstairs, then that's when you go ahead and shoot and everything else. And just keeping them off track of going high and low. Just worked.
And do you think you want Overeem as your next opponent if he wins his next fight?
Whoever wins. Whoever wins.
Real quick, let me jump in here real quick before the next question. One thing about the walk-ins, when we were talking about goofy walk-ins and serious walk, how badass was Kane and Junior Dos Santos' walk-in tonight? That's what I'm talking about. But while he's here, we announced the bonuses earlier. He won the fight tonight, and he gets a brand new Harley-Davidson motorcycle from Harley-Davidson. So, congratulations.
Thank you. I've been taking a motorcycle riding for about a year now, and I consider myself a biker.
Right.
Yeah, I think I love it. So thank you very much.
Cool. Congrats, bro. Huh? Yeah. No, there will be none of that. Sorry, whoever was asking the next question, go ahead.
A few questions for Eddie. You look kind of aggravated. What's bothering you?
Oh, there's nothing bothering me. I don't know. Do I seem aggravated?
You just look salty for a guy who just want to fight.
No, I'm happy. I got paid. I got to fight somebody. I got punched. I got to punch somebody back. So I'm a happy man.
When you heard it was a split decision, were you kind of surprised? Were you worried at all?
No. You never know what the judges are going to see. I don't like to let it go 3 rounds, just for that simple fact. I feel that it was unanimous on my side, but again, you don't know what they're going to see. So they may see something different that you see or that anybody else sees, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Speaking of opinions, the fans seem to kind of turn a little bit in the second and third rounds, and a little booing going on in the second and third rounds. Do you hear that kind of thing? I know all fighters say that they don't, and they just are worried about what's going on in the cage, but did you hear that?
Yeah, you hear it. You don't really understand why they're booing. 2 guys slugging at each other trying to take their heads off, and somebody's going to boo you. But again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. If they felt that they needed to boo, then good for them, I guess.
Sure. A couple quick ones for Kane. Kane, how are you feeling, physically after this fight? Are you, pretty much, beat up from being in a 25-minute fight, but, mostly injury-free?
Yeah. I just feel a little banged up just from that, so hopefully it stays that way.
And kind of what are your thoughts, going forward about how quickly you'd like to get back in there, in 2013, how fast you'd like to get in there and defend?
It's all about, first, man, I didn't do Christmas at home. We wanted to do it afterwards, so first off is Christmas with the family. That's most important. And then slowly get back in the gym. I like to slowly get back in there and get back to 100% and then, hit it hard. So we'll see.
And Dana, real quick on the bantamweight division, obviously your champ's out, but kind of how encouraging is it for you to have guys like Eddie and Eric and even Pickett kind of step up with the champ out at this point?
It's awesome. No, it's great. And nobody's had more bad luck than that kid has. And like you said, we got guys who can keep the division cracking and keep it exciting till we can settle that.
Right. And then you mentioned earlier, maybe a mistake opening up with the Lieben fight on the pay-per-view. What would you have put in there instead?
That's a good question. I don't know. We had another fight. Wait, actually, what fight was in there? There was another fight that was starting to show, and I switched it with Lieben. And believe me, like I told you, Joe Silva ran right over and let me know that he told me that. And he was right. Joe, you're smart. I'm dumb. I get it.
This question's for Kane here to your left. What was it like when you were going through the hardest rounds of the fight? Did you hear the fans that were pro you and chanting Cisa Puede? Did that help you get through those tough minutes?
I heard both. I heard. I think they were they cheering for Junior as well. Yeah, I heard both. In there against the cage. But when we were actually, doing, we're in the stand-up or on the ground, I didn't really hear anything else. But in the cage, I could hear, both sides.
Before you got here, Dana alluded to Mexico being something the UFC is going to do soon. What would it mean for you to go there? And also, same question for Eric.
Definitely one of my dreams to go there and fight there. Just having close ties with my family, being from there, for me, living, close to the border where, as a family, we would go to Mexico all the time, like on the weekends to eat, to visit family, everything else. So just, it's very, very close to my heart, so definitely want to fight there.
Cain?
You can do it in Spanish if he wants to. Do you speak Spanish? Yeah?
I'm talking English.
Oh, okay. I'll leave you alone, man. Do your thing.
If you go to Mexico, also, I have friends. It's not friends not coming to USA, so I have a lot of people want UFC in Mexico who don't have visa, don't have nothing. So if it's Greg, fight in the UFC and my country. Good.
Dana, are we more likely to see Kane fight in San Jose or Mexico first?
I don't know. I hope Mexico. No knock on San Jose, but love to do it in Mexico.
Cain?
Yeah. Somebody give Meltzer a microphone back there.
¿Nos podrías decir en español, pues, qué es lo que más te gustó de la noche de hoy, de tu victoria? Y segundo, si estás contento porque inclusive lograste superar a Junior Dos Santos en el boxeo.
Wait, before you do, will somebody translate that for us?
Essentially, King, what do you think about the way that you beat Junior Dos Santos that night, because you were better in the boxing even, and what do you think about the next step in your career?
Pues ahorita nomás a ganar. Me gustó que tenía un año que estaba esperando esta pelea y quería ir a ganar el título para atrás. Y sí, y como la gente estaban hablando que Dos Santos tiene buen boxeo y todo eso, pero yo ya sé que yo puedo hacer, que yo puedo también hacer el boxeo con él, yo también puedo luchar con él y jiu-jitsu, pues todo.
Yeah, you can do it. We're not going to make him translate himself. Come on.
Yeah, actually it was part of the plan, so I was preparing for a war. Actually, I knew that I was better in the boxing even, I made the plan, and that's how I make it.
Thank you.
In the Kane, in the fourth and fifth round, were you surprised that he was able to, still defend your takedowns and he still had a lot more life in him than I would have thought after all the damage you did and the pace you kept up in the first 3 rounds?
No, he's a tough dude. I envisioned this fight going so many ways, and one of it was a hard 5-round fight, and that's what it was. And just seeing him in his videos, his takedown defense. I mean, it's really, really good. It's not easy to get a takedown on him. So it's a thing of having to keep pressuring him, and you get some takedowns and you don't get some other ones. It's part of the game, but you just keep pressuring on.
And Dana, when you talked about Mexico and everything, I mean, what's the situation as far as like television? I mean, is there any kind of like a network that you feel you need to get on, or do you feel that your TV situation is strong enough right now?
Yeah, we've been talking about it right now, and I was talking about this the other day with everybody, and we've been working on Mexico hard for a long time. It's funny, because when we started this thing, I said the 3 no-brainers, United States, Mexico, and the UK. The UK and Mexico have been the hardest places to get into. So we're still working hard on it. We've got some guys going down there next week, actually scouting guys for the Ultimate Fighter. So we're working on it.
To the right. Caer en español, por favor. ¿Qué tan importante es para ti esta victoria en tu carrera y qué tan importante será para el desarrollo de artes marciales mixtas en México, tomando en cuenta que precisamente no fue un buen año para el boxeo, más allá de lo que hizo Juan Manuel Márquez, que tú sabes es el deporte favorito en cuanto a combate? How important is this victory tonight for your legacy, for your career, and how important is for the development of the MMA in Mexico, because the boxing hasn't any good year before Juan Manuel Márquez 3 weeks ago?
Very important. It's kind of weird. The first time I won the title, the San Francisco Giants also won their World Series, and I took account of that. I saw that they won, and then they won it again this year. And also, I was watching Arizona State football. They won their bowl game. Marquez, I just saw all the people that I was going for that I had some kind of relation with win, and I knew it was my time to win.
Quick question for Dana, but before I just want to say that Paula Sack spoke with the staff of Junior Cigano in the hospital, and he doesn't have a broken jaw.
Okay.
And I just want to ask you, you said that probably Overeem is going to fight Cigano next, so who's going to be next for King?
I don't know. We'll see who wins the next fight and see, probably the winner of that fight will fight Kane next. And like I said, after that fight happens, probably the fight that makes the most sense would be the rematch with Junior Dos Santos. We'll see how long it takes him to heal, and I think it's going to be a while before he's ready to fight again. This isn't like losing a regular fight and you go home and he was beat up pretty bad tonight. So it usually takes a little longer to recover from what he went through tonight.
And about the unification of the belt from Strikeforce and UFC, like what's going to happen? Do you think that now that Kane has the belt and Cormier is coming to the UFC?
That's what they need to figure out. The one thing that I love about these guys is, like I told you guys at the press conference before, we heard from this camp that, if that's the fight that has to happen, me and Cormier will fight each other, or Cormier moves to 205 pounds. I mean, whatever the deal is, I don't know. We'll go from there. But, Cormier is a guy who could come in and do anything. I mean, a win over Josh Barnett means something, So,
okay, thanks.
We'll see.
Yeah, Carlos with the Cage Mexico. Three questions for you, Dana. Number one, Eric Perez, 3 fights, 3 first round finishes. Where does he stand in the division?
Yeah, he looks good. I think his next fight, his next fight will be a meaningful fight. A fight that really, not that tonight didn't, but you know what I mean. A fight that'll get him closer.
Then, any news who's the Ultimate Fighter for Mexico coaches will be?
No idea. I don't know who the coaches in the United States are going to be next. So no.
And last question about Yushin Okami. This fight, there were a lot of booing. Any news? How, where does he stand? Did you like the fight? Any thoughts?
What did I think about the booing?
Yeah, on the Yushin Okami.
Yeah, well, let me just put it to you this way, okay? And you know, I'm going to piss some of the guys off up here at the podium, but the co-main event and main event saved our ass tonight on the pay-per-view. You know, the prelims were awesome. You know, some of the earlier fights were less than awesome.
Another question for Jim Miller over to your left. It looked like you and Constantino had kind of a heated exchange after the first round, and then at the end of the fight, you guys kind of hugged it out a little bit. What was going on there?
Mike yelled at me between the second and third rounds. You know, I was landing good on our feet and wanted to take it to the ground. You know, I mean, the takedown was there, so I went for it. You know, I'd worked to mount and stuff like that, but you know, he's a very talented grappler, and then you mix in all that blood, and it makes it really hard to hold on to somebody. So you know, he was able to, you know, reverse me and win the round. So Mike got a little fired up and got in my face, you know, but sometimes that's what I need, and you know, he's like my big brother. So yeah, after the fight, I patted him on the face and said, you know, don't yell at me anymore. But yeah, it was, you know, he's in there to do what he needs to do to get me to do my job.
And last fight was canceled. Obviously, it's nice to end the year like this. Can you just describe just the roller coaster the last couple months?
Yeah, obviously I was a little disappointed in November when I was supposed to fight Nick Ring, but like I said then, everything happens for a reason, and I honestly believe the reason was what happened tonight. I'm very excited that I'm finishing the year with a win, and especially against a huge opponent like Team Boach, and I'm going to enjoy my New Year's Eve.
Yeah, for him, Bosch was one of the guys that everybody was talking about possible title fight, so it was a big win for him tonight. Go ahead,
Dana,
sorry.
Angel Cordero from the MMA Truth in Puerto Rico. Dana, a lot of people would agree that Lawson and Miller is a very good candidate for Fight of the Year this year. But where does this win will put Jim Miller?
Jim Miller's been one of the top in the division for a long time already. You know, this fight obviously, you know, gives him another bonus, and he's. I agree. This is definitely up for Fight of the Year, but he's already one of the top guys in that division. Has been for a long time. He's one of the best in the world and has been.
You think he might be fighting for #1 contendership next?
Yeah, I mean he's there. He's there now. I mean the kid's one of the best in that division, and has been for a long time. I mean he's one of the top guys there already. You know, tonight a win over him was huge for Lozon tonight. And you know, if Lozon would have beat him tonight, it would have been, you know, huge for him.
Okay, how about Costa and Yushin? Do you think that it is safe to assume that they could be facing each other next?
Yeah, anything's possible. I mean, he's been one of the best guys in the world forever, and he just burst onto the scene tonight. I mean, that was, like I said, that was a big win over Bosch. It was a big fight for him tonight.
He feels that he should be at least bumped into the top 10 of that division. Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. He beat Tim Bosch tonight. Yeah, he's one of the top-ranked guys in the world.
Okay, is there a translator for Yushin?
Yeah, he's right here.
Okay,
Go
for
ahead.
Yushin, a lot of the fans were commenting during the fight that training with Chael Sonnen has really paid off, especially tonight. Will you continue to work with Chael?
今回の試合で多くのファンが、今回の試合の内容はそのチェルトのトレーニングがものすごく大きくその結果が出たのじゃないか、結果につながったんじゃないかというコメントがあったんだけども、今後もチェルトのトレーニングを続けるんですか？
そうですね、チェールやチームクエストのマット・リンドランド、そしてチームクエストの、みんなに、いい練習をさせてもらったので、これからも続けていこうと思ってます。
Of course, but not only with Chael Sonnen, but also all members, including, of course, Matt Lindland and other guys in Team Quest, I had a very good training and it resulted in a good result. So I'm going to train with them.
Okay, and to finish, and I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to say this in Spanish first. To Caín Velázquez y Goyito Pérez, gracias por representar a los latinos de la forma en que ustedes los hacen y gracias por abrirle tantas puertas a tantos latinos que se van a convertir en la potencia mundial del MMA a nivel mundial. Se lo agradezco de corazón. I just said that thanks to Cain and to Eric for representing Latinos all over the world, the way they do, and for opening doors for an onslaught of Latino fighters that are going to take over the MMA.
We'll take one more question. Who's got it?
This is for Okami-san, Omedeto. And my question is, Chael Sonnen recently told a story how you went to his house and you had a run-in with Mrs. Sonnen. Is that story true, and what happened there?
大上さんに質問なんですけれども、最近、チェール・ソネンが、大上さんが家に行った時に お母さんに撃たれそうになったという話をしていたのですが、その話は本当なのでしょうか、一体どうしてそういうことになってしまったんでしょうか。
いろいろ話せば長くなるので、でも本当にお母さんに打たれないでこの勝利があるので、チェール一家には感謝しています。
It is a very long story, and I was lucky enough not to get shot by his mother. So I'm thankful for whole Chael's family.
We're happy you didn't get shot too. Thank you guys very much and have a great night. Happy New Year.